Welcome. Hello, my little pepperoni and cheeses. Today is day 1 million of quarantine, and in order to stop myself from making an OnlyFans and becoming someone I am really not, I decided that it was a good idea to get back to my roots of DIY. Behind me is a bathroom that I'm going to be sprucing up, and that is going to start with me moving everything that is in here out of here so that I have a completely clean space to work in. So I'm going to get started on that, and since my boyfriend is home literally every day now, I am going to be wearing these little earbuds, which are not super fashionable, but very good for doing anything physical. Let's do it.
Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave in and swallow me whole. Wondering why my mind keeps on spinning. This isn't how living to me was told. Why am I like this? Something's always amiss. Can't put my finger on it, but it's there. Wait for it to subside, but my mind won't apply. Waiting for the clear. Is it bad? Sometimes I like it when I lose control. There's something in it that's so beautiful. Listen, I can see the light today, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm doing my best not to run away. Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave in and swallow me whole. Wondering how the world keeps on spinning, kinda scared of living when it unfolds. Hard to see the light when everything is silent, waiting for the clear. Thankful I'm alive, but terrified of dying. But hey, I'm still here. Is it bad? Sometimes I like it when I lose control. There's something in it that's so beautiful. Listen, I can see the light today, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is to say. I'm doing my best not to run away.
Okay, so over this equally poor but bootylicious footage, I wanted to say that this is a great time to clean your other surfaces, especially the ones that are highly neglected. Walls, door frames, and light fixtures all collect a lot of dust. Also, please excuse the mascara smudges on my eyelids in the next clip. I've had to abandon my setting spray because it's giving me a cool little freaking pink rash at the outside corners of my eyes, so thanks, Urban Decay. If you know of a sensitivity-friendly spray, please let your girl know so I can quit unintentionally looking like I'm planning to kill Cuzco after this. Okay, so I've gotten most of the sanding done, taken everything out, wiped down some of the surfaces, but then I realized that when I sand, they're just gonna get dirty again. So I was kind of doing that out of order. But now I have a couple more things that I need to sand that I actually have to remove. So like the light plate covers over there. And I'm also changing out like the toilet paper holder. I'm gonna get rid of the towel bar. It's very like builder grade and clearly hasn't been changed since this house was made. I bought some hooks that I'm gonna install instead, and a matching toilet paper holder and a matching hand towel ring. But I have never actually removed any of this kind of stuff before. So I know the light switch covers are gonna be easy, but I'm gonna have to do some Googling to figure out how to fix these bad boys. And then we will get to spackling. Okay, so this is unfortunate, but they made a pretty big hole because they put the anchors really close to one another. So obviously they were just drilling into like the same space and there's nothing behind there. So there's a chance I'm gonna need to go back to the store and buy some mesh. I'm hoping that I can just fill it in with spackle, but we'll see. Okay, so at this point, my hair has tripled in size. I have re-spackled my holes 3 times, and we're moving on to our third task. So, got everything pretty clean and wiped down with old socks and t-shirts that I was gonna just throw away anyway. And it's time to lay some painter's tape. This stuff is supposed to give you a really straight edge, and I've used it a million times. I've tried Frog Tape brand. This is 3M. I've also tried this. This one is even supposed to, like, it says sharp lines on it, but that's kind of a lie. It doesn't always come off super clean. So I'm gonna mainly be putting this in areas where I feel like I'm gonna have to use the paintbrush. I do have an edger that I'm gonna be using to try to get like a really nice line, especially around the ceiling and around some of the molding of the doorway and the window. But in certain areas, the wall is kind of corroded from age, so I know for a fact I'm gonna have to use the paintbrush in those places, and I don't want to be getting excess paint on the tub insert or on the window frame. So right now I'm going to precariously perch myself on this dining room chair so I can reach and get to laying some tape. officially hit tomato status. All of the holes are plugged up with spackle, and it's really important to look over your walls really carefully to try to find any bumps or divots, because you can fix them now before you have to paint, and they won't be there when you paint. I did all that, and I took my spackle tool, what is this called? Stiff scraper, and went around to all the places that I put painter's tape and tried to shove them into their corners as much as possible to try to help me get as straight of a line as possible. I paint. Hopefully I put painter's tape everywhere that I need to. Inevitably I always miss one spot, so we'll see what happens, but it's too late right now to start painting, so tomorrow I will hopefully have plenty of time to go ahead and start painting. And on the bigger holes that I had spackled, not just like the little thumbtack holes or the nail holes, 2 of them are still drying. One of them is like perfect now. It's perfectly flush with the wall and it's completely dry. The 2 larger ones that have had anchors in them are currently still drying, so tomorrow I'll see if I can sand them nice and flat or if I need to do another round of spackling. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, we're back. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been 2 days since I laid down the painter's tape, which is not ideal because I live in a pretty humid condition area, and the painter's tape can kind of start to come off of the wall or off of the surfaces a little bit if it gets too hot. So I am gonna go around as I start to paint and sort of push it back down into place if any of the areas have kind of bubbled up, just to make sure that I still get that nice and clean paint line. And before I tear the paint, I'm going to use a little X-Acto knife to make sure that I get a really clean edge, because sometimes paint gets really tacky as it's drying, and you'll pull the painter's tape and it'll pull like a little bit of the paint up right with it and ruin your sharp edge. So that's my plan for that. In terms of painting, I'm going to start on the back wall over there, and I'm going to first try to edge the wall and then go in with my brush and or my roller to get the larger spaces. I am going to do this in order to try to make sure that there are not any streaking lines or crazy paint patterns, anything that doesn't look as seamless as possible. It's easier to do this with 2 people and have one person edging and one person following with the roller or the brush to make it look really seamless quickly. But I am a one-woman show, so I'm gonna do both of the jobs as best that I can. I went through about a million different swatches at the store, but I ultimately decided on this little bad boy called Melting Moment, which is kind of a bluish, greenish, pale color in between blue and green, which is perfect for what I'm envisioning. I recently also got like a little painting that actually came in the mail today that I'm going to hang on the wall, and I think the colors will all work really nicely together. My first step right now is going to be to go in with some canned air and try to get all of the dust out of my ceiling fan, because she's looking mad dusty and I don't think it's ever been cleaned, so we'll see how that goes. If you see me rapidly move on to the next task, it did not go well. So yeah, make of that what you will. And this area is not super well ventilated, so I also want that to be as open and functional as possible throughout the painting experience. I know that this is like triggering right now, but I also have a mask that I'm going to be wearing to try to help keep all those fumes out of my mouth and nose and lungs, so I'm not, you know, zoyan up in this bitch. Aside from that, I have a few t-shirts that I'm going to use to preemptively wipe down the walls one last time, make sure that there's no dust or hair or whatever that's going to get stuck in with the paint and ruin it. And also I'm going to use those in case of any drips, which hopefully won't happen, but you know, it is what it is. I'm also going to really quickly sand down the 2 spots that I had recalked yesterday morning because they weren't quite flush with the wall yet. So I added a little bit extra, made them a little bit further out than the wall, and now I'm going to sand them down so that they're hopefully like perfectly flat. Yeah, aside from that, I guess it's time to get started. I'm going to throw in some music, and you know, I'm not feeling like 100% go get 'em like I want to do this right now, but I've learned the amount of times that I am like really feeling ready to do something in my life are like slim to nunca. So we're just gonna get at it and see how it goes. Hopefully not too bad, and hopefully the camera angles don't suck. Sorry if they do. Okay, success. It is day 4, I think, of this project, and I have completed painting everything to the best of my ability. I went back and touched up some of the edges that looked a little funky, and I think we're good to go. The color is a little more blue than I was anticipating. Based on the swatch, it looked a little more green, but it's actually greener when you step away from it, and it looks more blue when you're in it. It's kind of cool, has a nice little beachy vibe, and I think it's gonna go well with the new hardware that I picked out that I'm going to install and the picture that I also got. So right now I'm going to go in with some Windex and start wiping down any of the surfaces that might have some dust or leftover debris on them from my whole painting escapade, and make sure that everything is nice and clean so that I can bring things back into the bathroom, clear some space in the rest of my house, and get going on installing the new hardware. I'm not going to really clean very thoroughly in the areas that I am installing the new hardware because it's just gonna get dusty again in a second when I whip out the drill. So yeah, that is the current plan, and let's get started. finish up, I went ahead and cleaned my shower head, which was looking a little messed up from the hard water. If your shower head looks like this too, you're not disgusting or anything, just the water in certain areas has like more or less salt or calcium, I don't know what, but it gets to looking all dirty like this, which is not cute, and there's an easy way to fix it. All you need is a rubber band, a plastic baggie, and a little bit of white vinegar of any kind. You pour a little bit into the baggie and rubber band it around the shower head. If you have somewhere that it can lay flat, you don't have to use as much vinegar, but you can use a lot if it's just going to be suspended. Leave it there for, I don't know, 30 minutes, and afterwards it will come out looking pretty much brand spanking new. You might have to wipe it with a towel a little bit or use your fingernail on some of the tougher little bits that are left over. Aside from that, I just wanted to say that although this video might have made things look kind of easy, it was definitely a hard process to go through all of this. There were many moments that did not go as planned. For example, my setting screw incident where I had a really hard time getting that towel ring off of the wall. I realized like 5 days later as I was editing this footage that I had a freaking Allen wrench the whole time because I had my new hardware, so I could have just taken the Allen wrench out of the new hardware and it would have fit the setting screws, but I literally just did not even think of that, so that was cool. And then also the edger, you do have to be careful with how much paint you load onto it and how much pressure you apply. If you do too much of one or the other, the paint will smush up onto your ceiling, and that was a bit of a pain to try to fix up along the way. The last thing was that where the old towel hanger used to be, there's a massive electrical plate in the wall. So after I had finished making everything look beautiful, I went in with my drill and tried to drill an anchor hole, which is a massive hole, and what do you know, I couldn't drill into that space because there was an electrical plate there, which is something that essentially blocks wires or pipes to keep you from like killing yourself or ruining your house. And so I ended up having to move some things around and improvise a little bit, but I really am happy with the way that it turned out. I'm glad that I made the decisions that I made. Yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed this. Thank you so much if you made it this far and are still watching. If you want to give me a like and subscribe, that would be cool. If not, I will see you later.